Hello. So, good evening. Welcome to this month's version of monthly talk, Varahamihira Science Forum. For those of you who are new, not many, I'll give a brief introduction of our program and our speaker, and then we'll hand over the podium to her. The uh, Varahamihira Science Forum was started in 2017 to provide a platform for science communication, technology communication to the general public. We have mostly programs that are targeted at specific audiences. So we wanted a program, we wanted a forum where speakers on science and technology, both amateurs and professionals, can speak, and we can the general public would not necessarily just experts in the field. It's like conferences on medicine happening only at hospitals, or engineering conferences only happening at companies, sort of that, or at universities. We wanted a forum where the general public can attend lectures, and both professionals and amateurs can give speeches, and way to create a community. So we then created. It was operating as basically a WhatsApp group, and still actively does that. So we have a strong presence on social media. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Just search for Varahamihira Science Forum. We have a website, and we have the YouTube channel where almost all of our programs have been uploaded, and most of them are available for live view. So that's a brief introduction. We expected to do for 6 months, and we've had we've gone for much longer. Um, Nearly this is our 6th year, so we are delighted that we've had such a welcoming audience. Yeah, thank you. So today's speaker, Dr. Uthra, has already spoken once a few years back, November 2018 to be precise. She gave a talk on Leelavati's daughters, basically a talk on the women scientists of India, and that was very well received. That we had it at different venue at Tamil Virtual Academy in Kottapuram then, and that video is available online. I mean, online if you want to go to see our YouTube channel, search for Aramira Science Forum under name, and you'll find it. She is the HOD of physics at the DG Vaishnav College. She's been teaching there for more than 25 years. Besides that, she's been indulging herself, or involving herself, and very spiritedly motivating her students, former students, other colleagues, to do all kinds of things on science. She's translated a lot of English books into science, put them out for free on the web. She's translated a lot of works of Arvind Gupta, who also spoke for us. Uh, some of his experiments and other concepts she's translated. Um, Recently, she's been translating a lot of technology, science and technological information under the Swastik initiative of the CSIR, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Swastik is scientifically validated traditional Indian knowledge. That is the initiative under the Prime Minister's initiative. So where we are trying to make people aware of all kinds of accomplishments that India has had over its civilization, and we prepare. CSIR engages people. We create content, and then there are translations, because some people may be expert in English or Hindi or something, and we did translate in 15 languages. And she's done a number of translations into Tamil of all kinds of subjects on science. He's writing books. I actually wanted to bring some of the books and display it. Mr. Chance, maybe next time we'll do that. So we are delighted. So she's been writing on scientists like Homi Baba, Naidamma, and uh, J C Bose and all that. And I asked her to give a talk on this, but she was really busy. A couple of months back, she organized a seminar, Arviel Peslam Vanga, targeted very similarly to journalists and other students rather than just the science students at DG Vaishnav College. And so she agreed. So finally, we are glad to have her speak on it. She asked me whether we wanted her to speak on one scientist on many scientists, like a Kalavai Sadam. And we said, whatever you choose. And she said, I'll speak on several of them. And because it's a Kalavai Sadam, uh, we hope it's not too much of an indulgence. we created a bit of a song, kind of honoring some of the scientists who are not that well known, though some of them are fairly famous. And a student, former student Shravan, who just finished his masters at University of Glasgow, agreed to sing it. He's also a singer. So I request Shravan to deliver the song, after which Dr. Uthra will deliver her lecture. So this is also an experiment, a musical experiment.
Hello, everyone. I'll get right into it. விஞ்ஞான சமையல் சாதம் விளைவுகள் பிரமாதம் ஆராய்ச்சிகள் வினோதம் விஞ்ஞான சமையல் சாதம் விளைவுகள் பிரமாதம் ஆராய்ச்சிகள் வினோதம் ராமானுஜனின் எண்கள் ராமன் ஒளியின் கண்கள் ராமானுஜனின் எண்கள் ராமன் ஒளியின் கண்கள் ஞானம் அடைந்த திங்கள் நாம் பாட வேண்டும் பண்கள் விஞ்ஞான சமையல் சாதம் விளைவுகள் பிரமாதம் ஆராய்ச்சிகள் வினோதம் மேக்நாத் சாஹா இங்கே மகாலனோபி சங்கே மேக்நாத் சாஹா இங்கே மகாலனோபி சங்கே அப்துல் கலாம் எங்கே விஞ்ஞான சமையல் சாதம் விளைவுகள் பிரமாதம் ஆராய்ச்சிகள் வினோதம் ஜெகதீஷ சந்திர ஆசான் சத்யேந்திரநாத்தின் போசான் ஜெகதீஷ சந்திர ஆசான் சத்யேந்திரநாத்தின் போசான் பிரபுல்ல சந்திர ராசான் ஓஹோ ஹோ ஹோ விஞ்ஞான சமையல் சாதம் விளைவுகள் பிரமாதம் ஆராய்ச்சிகள் வினோதம் Thank you very much. Just a quick note. Satyendranath Bosan happens to be my favorite line. Just wanted to share that right now.
Good evening, everybody. So, with a disclaimer, who is watching it online and who are here with us in the auditorium, எவ்வளோ புரியுதோ அதை எடுத்துக்கோங்க. இப்போ இருக்க presentation, it is more like it is a consolidation of information or it is a resource material. So those who are watching online, you can use it later on also. Yes, and you can go deep and delve into it. Right now, just try to take 5 or 6 points from this entire 1 hour or 50 minutes talk, but please see to it you pass this on, go deep into that later on, and you share with it with others. So அந்த 5 பாயிண்ட் எடுத்துக்கிட்டீங்களா போதும், அப்புறம் ஹாப்பியா ஜாலியா இருங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் whenever you want, please use this resource material as a skit or to search further and further, right? So with that, good evening and thank you Varahamira Science Forum for giving me this opportunity. So it was Ruchiram Sahni. He was born in 1863. So we are going to see very few scientists, more in a story method, right? He is again from a family in Punjab, Lahore, actually, Pakistan, Lahore. So where the father was a shopkeeper, and you can see here in the slide that his father used to pay few annas for the teacher every time this child would recite a mathematics table. So the teacher was even more motivated and he kept on learning what is mathematic tables a lot. But what is the purpose? By 5 years, the father sends the child to a shop, and in the shop the child learns to use it, and it is a business, so he cannot go wrong in giving the money or taking the money. So he becomes even more aware. Even by ninth standard, he puts the child in his own shop, and then the child you know gets the feeling of application of mathematics, where I have to be very very strong in the statistics, the number. Why why am I saying this? This will help the country later. Let's have it. In between, what happens is the father was a businessman. So it so happens uh, the ship or the boat loaded with all the things, it just sinks. So he becomes very very poor. In between, the father and others in the locality, they start schools by saving some money from everyday business, mandi and whatever they call it, mandi. So from the mandi, whatever money they make, they keep a part of it, because there was only uh, missionary schools there, and the children from the village, three of them wanted to get converted, and so the parents were very scared. They said, okay, I want my children to have education, but then we are going to start our school. So the father has invested already in starting a school, paying some kind of salary. So this boy and many others go to that other school and then keep studying, and he finishes his what matriculation, and then goes to another school some 250 kilometers away. Why do you need this information? What happens is, later on, the father falls ill. When the father falls ill, the child has to come from a very he travels 250 kilometers with lot of many many people in different modes of transport, right? He sees new things. For that matter, even Arvind Gupta would have mentioned that he would travel, I think Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, those sites also. He'll travel first time, he'll see what train is, he'll meet different kinds of people, such a small boy. So matriculation child, he'll be somewhere around 15-16 year old. He travels, comes here, and then that most of them of that generation have had very very difficult childhood. Nothing stopped them. And then he decides, okay, one big problem my father had was, nobody could predict there's going to be a flood in the Indus. And then now, during my travel, I faced a lot of problems because of the weather conditions and things. So he becomes a meteorologist later. One of the finest, he starts, not meteorologist, I would say, he starts building what is it, instruments for meteorology department, right? So later on, he finishes BA from Lahore, and then through earn and learn, for the sake of earn and learn component, he goes to Calcutta College, not Bombay University. He goes to Calcutta Presidency, and then there he meets PC Ray, J C Bose. He gets very inspired. In just 2 months, he gets posting in Shimla. So whatever I give in red color, it is mostly for your pondering, right? Later on, figure out what was happening in those times. So that time, his boss in Shimla, he was very very tough on the native Indians. He had very difficult time. Whatever he would say, the boss will say no. Everything got opposed, and he was a small boy. He was just doing his MA, and he was not in the college. He is enrolled in the college, but he was working in Shimla. Just look at the thing. No, he did not finish here. He was there, and he was also reporting to his chemistry professor. Okay, I'll come to that later. So, at that point of time, this false point cyclone, please Google it further. He predicts that there's going to be a very, very bad cyclone which would affect Orissa a lot, as well as Bangladesh part of, Bengal. And then he keeps on sending that telegram to his boss, but nobody bothered, because that time they had some other meeting or some function. And he has been sending it to his professor of chemistry in Calcutta University. That time, what I said, his mathematical tables and the knowledge to process the numbers, that comes very very handy. He was able to predict, and then he takes all the measures to stop it. What was his age? Hardly 20-year-old. Yes, but then he gets fired by the boss, saying, you disobeyed me. Then he had to go to his professor in Calcutta, had to give entire professor Pedler, He had to go give him all the reasoning, and then he had been sending he had documentation properly. For that matter, he has documented the entire life, whatever was happening. He used to write everyday notes. These are still available. uh, Ruchiram's memoirs, and you can even read from his grandson. He has been documenting his tata's uh, life, what he has achieved, what has happened. You can even read that. So what happens is, this Alexander Pedler, he gets all the information by scolding him. Actually, he says, you just get out. And then he gets all the information, all the data, and then he happily publishes the paper, and he gets a very big name. Yes, you can still see the Alexander Pedler paper on the internet. Yes. So he finishes MA finally, and then back to his place. There's no great job. He becomes a school teacher in his father's school or nearby school. Then slowly he becomes a professor also, but there was no chemistry lab or physics lab. There was no instruments. This was the kind of setup he had to teach. So he would ask all his friends, okay, you're going to UK. Okay, fine. Please, can you get me these books? Can you get me these books? So he procures these books, and he makes a good library, and he makes a good lab. And he and at what is it? Due in Bengal, he has met Sarkar, Mahendra Lal Sarkar. Please remember this name, Mahendra Lal Sarkar. Yes, he has been very good in popularization of science in those days. If we are all living with science and technology, if we all have education today, we owe Mahendra Lal Sarkar and Ashutosh Mukherjee. Please Google them later. What did they do? If Sir C.V. Raman could get a Nobel Prize, it is because of Indian Academy of Cultivation of Sciences. Then who founded it? What is the connection between Mahendra Lal Sarkar, Ashutosh Mukherjee, and Sir C.V. Raman and Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan? Please check it out. So he was in Bengal for very few days before moving to Shimla. Right, that point of time, he happens to see the big crowd, and the way he was presenting, Mr. Mahendra Lal Sarkar was presenting things, and he gets inspired. And one of the work that he was given in Shimla was, he had to talk to the English people about what is it, meteorology, weather conditions. Why would they listen to? Because they keep traveling to India through the ship. They keep sending their goods through the ship. So it's an important thing they understand, what happens to the weather, right? Because at what point of time, even if I'm going to get transferred, say, to another place, I try to find out, or even if we travel for 2 days to any place, we try to check the climate condition, take the right clothes, right? So here in Shimla, people were coming there to take rest, the Englishmen, but he had to give a lot of lectures to impress them, right? That's where he built his, what is it, the knowledge, and then becomes a popular science speaker. And the best part is, he uses lots of demo. And where does he get money? He gets money by making locks, put, lock, and then lockers. The first person who started all these in Chandigarh and Ludhiana is Professor Ruchiram Sahni. Yes, he makes very big money. If somebody can just think of what made people buy so many locks, why would they need locks suddenly at that point of time? I don't know. He made a lot of money, and then through that, it was a very, very profitable thing. And that profit he used to create, or invested that money in creating your screw gauge, vernier calipers. Even today, we buy things only from Patiala as a teacher. Whatever comes from Patiala, it will have very best quality. You take spectrometers, microscopes, everything, most of the things will be from Patiala. Yes. So the seed that Ruchiram Sahni made, it, it is like it is giving us things now. So his English counterparts were not very happy with it, and in during festivals, Thiruvizha Bodhu, right? People will throng there. He would put tent kotta and then show demonstrations. He would with tickets. People will stand in queues for his science shows. One thing was, yes, he could make money to give back to the society. The second thing, that inspired a lot of parents to send their children to science. Not many were going to schools, number one. In this, I'm talking in before 1900. And number two, people did not know what to do with science. You need somebody there on the stage to say, okay, I have done science and I'm doing very good. So you can also send your children. Yes, you need some inspiration. So he was there all the time. In Pune conference, some of his, an Indian tries to have an exhibition, and through that he was able to take part in it. Even that was very, very difficult. Yes, we were not given much platforms. That time, few Englishmen they come there and then they say, see, I think all these things are imported. It cannot have so much precision. You have put some Indian varnish. I don't know what you call it as Indian varnish, so it looks indigenous. I don't know what they would have thought. How can somebody put some varnish and make it look indigenous? No idea. But then as Ruchiram explains them, and then they start believing, okay, Indians can make such precision instruments. He has been doing it for a very long time, but despite all these things, he has a lot of problems from his colleagues, Indian colleagues, and otherwise. And then at the age of nearly at the age of 50, he decides, I'm going to quit. But before he decides to quit this job, he learns German. Yes, through a father who was living nearby, and he decides that he would do research in nuclear physics. Yes, all this because he has been continuously following what was happening in his field. And then he gets in touch with Lord Rutherford, Neils Bohr. These are the names which we know only through our books. We can't even imagine. And in those days, things would have been much more difficult. But despite that, he goes there, where to Germany. But due to World War One, it becomes very, very difficult for him to live there. And then he had to shift, and believe me, you can't shift. Somebody must take you. Even today, in your research lab, somebody should take you. And Niels Bohr and Rutherford were ready to take them. Yes. And Ruchiram Sahni, he publishes papers along with Rutherford. We know Rutherford, we know Niels Bohr through our textbooks, but none of us know Ruchiram Sahni. But it is okay. It's okay. So, after 5 years, once you know that these are there, you can dig more information and then figure out what they were. What did they contribute? These are the publications. I'm not saying அவர் இது சும்மா இது பண்ணாரு அவர் அதை பண்ணாரு அந்த கதை இல்லை. These are the publications. Anybody can go what he did, why he did. These are published by English journals. So you have the evidence here. So then he comes back and he has, and then he starts Punjab, what is it, your Punjab Science Institute with his teacher, and then he continues his journey. And Birbal Sahni, one of the greatest person in paleo, is a paleo botanist. I'm not getting into it. You can read more about him in Google or anywhere. So now we are going to moving to Subbarao, one of the greatest genius. Every time anyone gets fever, we should think of him. Any of us who take any antibiotic, we must think Yellapragada Subbarao. In the quiz I would have given, this is the gentleman when he was very, very small, when they were very poor again, he would run away to Kasi in a train. Why? He wants to sell bananas. Why? The family is so poor, he knows bananas, they buy banana. So we can sell banana and I can make my mother rich. How? By selling it in a place where there are a lot of people. The one thing that he knew when he was such a small boy was, at Kashi, there are a lot of people who are coming there. So he takes a train from his place to Kashi, but somehow the mother finds that this guy is going by train, and then in next few stations, he brings him back and tells him, if you want to become somebody big or if you want to take care of me, study well. That is all. One thing that is shown in his childhood is, so he wants to take care of the mother or help people. So in which case, this comes out later, he actually wants to become a monk in Ramakrishna Math order. It so happens, before that, before I go to his, these are the few papers. These are the very few papers that he has published. This is for you. Now you have to think, have Indian done any science? It's for you to decide. I'm not going to say anything. Very few papers. This is all I can fill in a page. I can go long, any of us can copy paste, but I don't want that. These pages, look at the years 1925, 27, 28, 29, goes on. So now you can decide, you can think for yourself. Now, I'm not going into his personal life. It's very, very difficult. We will tear into pieces, literally. You can't read his, bio. It's so difficult to read the thing. We will start crying. So without going into it. So what happens? He tries to come to Chennai and he wants to become a doctor because he wants to help people in Ramakrishna Mutt. Yes, he joins medicine. Yes, that time he is inspired by Swarajya movement of Gandhiji. So he starts wearing a robe made of khadi. That insults all his teachers. So finally, he ends up without MBBS degree. Yes, the child who took a train to sell bananas. The mother said, "Okay, you study." He does everything, but despite that, he does not get his MBBS degree. What is he given? LMS degree. It's okay. He says, "Okay, nee poda. I don't worry." Yes. So he goes to what do you call it? Ayurveda college and starts teaching, and then he starts his research in anatomy in Ayurveda college in Chennai. That time he happens to meet a person from US. He says, "Okay, I'll take care of you. Can you come with me to US?" He says, "Yes, but what about the money?" The mother says, "I have a trick. Get married. The father and I'll find a nice girl who is rich," and the relatives. So the father-in-law is ready to sponsor even his medicine MBBS. The father-in-law only sponsors. Yes, and when he goes to US, he tells the wife, "Chinna ponnadu, I'll come back. Then we will start living." But he never comes back to India. Yes. And he never takes any patent in US. He lives as Indian citizen throughout. He just keeps on working. For that matter, I would have written, he wouldn't have money, so he starts cleaning even bedpans in different hospitals. And this is a genius who gave us tetracycline and so many medicines for cancer, for leukemia, for anemia. Yes, this is a small gist of things I'm giving. Very, very less. 1/100th, say. All of us here who are watching it through online, most of the women, we have anemia. Most of us would have taken, folic acid and iron capsules. This gentleman, we owe this gentleman, no one else, right? Whatever comes with liver things, yes, he has found medicines for it. No, he just kept on working, just a karma yogi, that is all. He never takes any money and just goes on. So this is what he has given back to the community. Sorry. So now, can we say they have done some science? Is this evidence enough? Now, most of us have seen the porcelain insulator. When we were small, we see this all the time, right? The porcelain insulators in the thing. We know it is very, very important, right? Even in our own houses, at that now we have all those smart switches and electrical switches. Earlier, when we were small, we had that huge fuse box, right? So you have a fuse made of porcelain. Who gave you the knowledge? Do you think any foreigner will come and say, "Okay, guy, you want to have electricity? I'll teach you how to make the fuse"? No, nobody will give you the know-how. And then we wanted the nuclear programs in the country. Do you think anybody will come and say, "Okay, this is the soil, you have to do the nuclear reactor this way, I'll help you all through"? No way. Then who would have done it? We say today 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, all G. Optic fiber. Who gave you all those things? Right? Our own people, our own scientists, whom we have missed, and it's okay to miss them. Now we know, so we will start from here. That's all. There's no point feeling guilty, because the minute we feel guilty, we start pointing our hands to somebody else or something else or on the system. Instead, take it on your shoulders. Let's keep moving on. So, not only this, thermal reactors everywhere, wherever you need some kind of insulator, you need these. And then the asbestos, aluminum pathroom, and then made of mica, glass. And where do you get the kind of material for the nuclear reactor? You need the source, right? Where will you get? So there are two people you should remember. One is Mr. Professor, I'm going to say him. Other one is Badia. I'm not touching upon Wadia now. Wadia was another great person, sama, vara level, on the level, right? Yeah, this is your person. Yeah. He lost his eyesight. Colonel, for that matter, Colonel Atmaram. Why? Because he was part of the defense team who made lot of things for defense, even from, say, from 1940s, even before we got independence, right? When it comes to defense, two things are very important that he did. One is, see, we can make tanks and tankers, all those things. The minute it gets a leak, how will you figure out, and what material did we have? We means Indians have to, to reconstruct it or rectify it. This gentleman gave all those things. The second one is to putting out the fear during the wars. How can I put out the fire immediately? So I need an aerosol. It's like the various aerosols we use, scent bottle Mary, or we use aerosols, a lot of aerosols, and aerosol made of material which were readily available using chemicals, and he mixed it with the the micham midi, what you call it, along with what was the um, uh, bones and things of animals, the animals and things. It was available readily in our places. So he was trying to mix it and he was successful. So most of the time he would be dirty and smelly all the time. He was again inspired by PC Ray, Meghnad Saha, right? Because they wanted Swadeshi movement. The minute India gets independent, they knew that India is going to get independence in few more years. So I can't keep begging everybody around. What can I do, right? So he used to create artificial fires and extinguish from the solutions of waste horns and hoofs of animals are degrading products. And again, as I said, in the defense, lot of tanks, it's long. I'm just trying to impress you upon with things which we can relate to immediately, that is all. So this he was very much associated with Shantishwaru Bhatnagar, Saha, Ramsamy Mudaliar and Nehru. They were encouraging Dr. Colonel Atmaram. So with this, can I say our scientists have contributed lots? Yes, to some extent. So how can I know about these contributions more and more? So I have another 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Oh, yeah, thank you. Now, Jagdish Chandra Bose, and I'm going to have a very small gist of Jagdish Chandra Bose. So we all know Jagdish Chandra Bose. We study about him in our school syllabus also. So he made the or he invented creskograph, or he designed creskograph. So can I redesign it now? Can I try that as a school project or a college project? Why can't I do that? Why can't I try it again? No, let's see. So many of you might have known this. For the others, for the rest, 1895 Marconi transmits wireless signal, and he detects. But 2 years before, our own Jagdish Chandra Bose has already demonstrated it as a public experiment. And public experiment to the, and there were a lot of English witness, and he knew, it was communicated to the West. Immediately he knew it, but he was very adamant that he wouldn't apply for patents. No idea why he was so adamant. We wish he was not that adamant, but later on he changes. So he went to Bengali English medium school, and his father again, he was a officer, English officer. So in those days, the English officers would have, more better comforts. Not all the comforts, but better comforts than anybody else. So they would send their children to English medium schools. But J C Bose's father, he was very, very clear that my son has to go study with everybody around. He has to play in the sun or the soil or with everybody. He has to play with all the animals, pets, whatever happens to everyone. That the same thing my son should also enjoy is the way, in that way only. He should feel the soil. And what, because of that, he becomes a pet lover, as well as he feels the nature, which helps him later not only in physics. He diversifies into many other fields, and his students, they have, flourished in everything that they touched. So he is not that I will do only physics or I'll do only chemistry. He was able to relate everything with the nature. And now his father again, he started creating a lot of jobs for the people around him, and he started small scale industries, or he was investing only on people, because of which he was in a great debt. He was in a very great debt. Again, the child wants to do something for the, for the society. Immediately, what is it? I'll become a doctor and do something. So this child, he goes to, goes abroad. Think, he goes abroad to England to do medicine, and the mother sells all her jewelry. But then there he goes and he gets Kala Hazar, or a type of infection, and he could not do practice medicine, or he could not even sit in the class. And the, bad smell coming from the autopsy, he was not able to tolerate, especially because of his bad condition after going to England. Yes, so he has to come back. But he didn't want to come back, because he knows my mother has already sold everything and father is in a very great debt. He can't come back. That is all. So he tries to stay back. The next option he has is physics, because his physics teacher was so good in the school. He says, okay, I wanted to do medicine. If not medicine, I can't do medicine now, full stop. So what can I do next? I can do physics. So he takes up physics, and then um, he does a lot of things. I would like you to, we'll go there, but maybe I can change. This would help. Yeah, I think one slide I had skipped. So he gets BSc and BA. He gets 2 degrees from, one from University of London, one from University of Cambridge, and he comes back in 1885. And that time we never had colleges all around the country. We never had Indian professors. Probably was the first person to come back to become a professor in a college. What are the rules? What are the regulation? Who will appoint them? What should be the salary for an Indian? Now the problem, Indian comes, right? So he gets appointed as a provincial education system, under provincial education service. What is the point? Because the people, the Indians who get appointed under this service, they get 1/3 of the pay for the same job. So he says, I will not take any uh, salary at all. You give me the right kind of salary. Till then, I'm not going to touch even a single pie. Here, his father is already in a huge debt. The son is here to pay off all the debts. And mother doesn't have anything. And he has sisters, brothers, everybody. But he does satyagraha. And finally, he wins. After him, his junior, PC Ray, will come back. Yes, he will also get the very less pay, but he'll say, okay, I'll take it, and he'll give all the money to only to the students and only to the lab. Yes, he will not take even a single pie. In one of the biographies, somebody has written, like, in just on the salary day, near the PC Ray's street, in the house, in a small house where he stayed, there'll be a lot of students who will be staying, standing in queue in that street, because they will come and take the money from PC Ray that he would be giving. And PC Ray would just eat a fruit or milk, and then sleep, and he'll not have more than 2 dresses. And some point of time, somebody will mistake whether he is a peon of the college or he is a teacher. He'll be looking just like him. He'll say, I don't need anything. He is the man whom Gandhiji admires and says, அந்த குவிஸ்ல பாருங்க என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காருன்னு அப்புறம் தெரியும். I'm not going to say that here. Yes, so Gandhiji admires PC Ray, and the most of the bureaucrats and police were so scared of PC Ray. They were scared of PC Ray. Believe me, why? He was a chemist. Okay, before going to PC Ray, once again back to JC Bose. Yes, uh, JC Bose comes back, and then he gets married to one Abala Bose. Abala Bose is my personal favorite. Abala Bose is a person who completes medicine in Madras Medical College, and before getting the degree, I think I would have mentioned it in Leela with his daughters also, probably. She goes back to Calcutta for the marriage because parents say, no, no, we want no, your marriage to be fixed immediately. So without getting the degree, she goes back to Calcutta and marries him. She stands behind that man like anything, like anything. Now, let's go to the earlier slide. In one of the lectures that who JC Bose gives abroad in Paris, you know, Vivekananda comes there and listens to the lecture. He says, "Oh motherland, who is there to represent you?" And here I find my own JC Bose, who is representing our own country. Yes, and the kind of wave that JC Bose has created abroad with his papers, with this research. I'm not talking about uh, anything else. With this kind of research, it has created really waves. And see the names which you read in your textbooks. Lord Kelvin, right? So they were very, very impressed, and one of them tries to help him set up a lab, and he sets up a lab near the under the staircase or near the bathroom. Who? JC Bose. That's where he constructs his microwave apparatus, and for which he does not apply patent, and somebody else takes a patent. It would not. It would be conducive to India and scientific education of Calcutta if a well-equipped equipped physical laboratories added to the resources of University of Calcutta in connection with professorship of Dr. Bose. Vivekananda writes, and then he helps him get it, and he tries for funding. And this is, he applies for who? Bose applies for patent in US and UK. UK declines it. UK does not give it. While at US, one Sarah, Madam Sarah, or Sister Sarah, we call her Sister Sarah because she becomes Swami Vivekananda's disciple later, right? And that's a very, very beautiful connect. Patent was granted. This is his own handwriting. Yes, finally he gets, for what he discovers much earlier, before 1900, he gets patent at least later. Why is it so important? Is it something very important? Is it something big that he did? Yes. Here, you can just read it. What others said. I'm not saying any of these. It is others' quotes, other scientists' quotes. So, probably the first semiconductor device patented in US was JC Bose's. So, in a letter, despite that, soga kadaya nariya solrene nanchikadinga. It is the challenge that they faced. So this should give us the inspiration. Okay, everybody has faced challenge and they have come up well. So a scientist or teacher's life has got its own challenges which others may be able to understand or not. But it is okay. Like everyone has a challenge. He also had challenges. But look at the challenge. You will not know what difficulties I have to face. This is a letter by J C Bose to Rabindranath Tagore, and all these are available in Bose Institute. There is a website called as, beautiful website called as Bose Institute. You can read his letters, the pictures, everything is there, just there, right? So you just have to go click it. Please click it, right? You will get so much of information and knowledge and the kind of life that they lived. So again and again, somebody takes away their research papers, publication. It happens. It's very common in mostly. It's common in research field, but it's okay. Fine. And later on, with lot of struggle, with the help from Sister Nivedita and Sister Sarah, he creates Bose Institute, and they were very particular. India should have journal. So who will be the referee? Who will do all those things? Who will give you the papers? And we were already in, what is it, colonial government. And why would he allow you? If you say you're going to come and join IISc, he didn't even open his doors of IISc to others or Tata Institute. It took very long time, and he never allowed people to become directors for almost 20 years. So starting journal was not easy, but then they did it. For whose sake? For our sake. For our sake. Today we are here because of them, for the kind of work that they had put in. So please just go through what is that Sister Sarah and Sister Nivedita helped, JC Bose. Now, Prafulla Chandra Ray, just, you know, you call him master of nitrites. The world called him master of nitrites, and he is the one who, founder of Bengal Chemicals, BPCL. But it so happens one day when I was traveling in Calcutta 3 or 4 years back, I saw at least, part of the BPCL in shambles. If somebody can revive it, or if it can be made as a heritage monument, I think that would be great. We can relive all those things. But it is okay. Again, India, when he was in UK, he writes a paper, essay on India before and after mutiny. Why is it important? He makes it public to the UK people how that bureaucrats are, what do you call it? They are mismanaging money, mishandling the people. We can call him a whistleblower there. And he was only a student, and he was not penalized, or rather he fought the challenge. I mean, I wouldn't say he would have faced some challenge, because he was, very vocal about it. But then he again becomes, for the Chemistry Society of, I think, Edinburgh, or he becomes the chairman during the, what is it, when he was a student. And it was a big honor to take Asian, or brown people to head that, what is it, that group of people. And because he had even then published, so he started publishing so many papers, and he was such a brilliant person even then. He had published 100 plus papers. Again, this is much before, 1900 or around 1900. So all these papers were published only in England, the journals from England. And they had very strict and stringent rule. And this is the same time when JC Bose papers also got, what is it, they got published in some other name, or stolen by some people. Similar things would have happened to PC Ray also. But despite that, to his credit, even now he has some 100 plus papers, and he is the one who gave us the know-how of, what is it, if Atmaram could get into the glass factories and things, it is only because of PC Ray's guidance. That time we never had, what is it, even a chemistry test tube or beakers. Who will make it for us? Who will make it for us? And you don't have that kind of modern science here. Even in West, it was just growing. West was not great, all that great. Yes, it had its greatness. They were, in front of us. We agree. But then here, who would provide? These are the people who started industries, and he started lot of industries. And this book, History of Hindu Chemistry, is available, readily available as a downloadable free PDF. And I would definitely thank Professor Jagtap, who first time when he told about PC Ray's thing, no, just tears roll from your eyes. That's it, right? It is not because of sadness. It's kind of, you are, that's a kind of work that they have uh, put in the soil. And finally, Nayadama Information Bank. Nayadama is again my very favorite. I am not going to talk much here. One thing is, why am I bringing him here? Because last year we had a centenary. This is a Nayadama Information Bank by Canadian government, not by Indian government. They have something called as Nayadama Information Bank. So you can imagine what kind of, thing you would have contributed for the entire world. Sadly, he died in Kanishka air crash. Yes, he was another great person. And he was a person, in 1960s or things, we would have seen beautiful lawns and gardens in many of the Telugu movies and Tamil movies. Many of them were taken in CLRI under his directorship. Because he was a lover of gardens and things, and he had a lot of connect with the, what is it, with cine people. And his wife was a big doctor in Andhra Mahila Sabha. She was a very great woman at Andhra Mahila Sabha, a doctor. So he helped and supported If the world knows somebody called as Professor G.N. Ramachandran, not many people know, but whatever we know, it is because of the help done by Nayudamma, who got kangaroo's tail from Australia and gave it for research to Professor G.N. Ramachandran. G.N. Ramachandran is another genius for another time. And his research publications, whose research publications? Nayudamma's research publication. You can just click, it'll run into pages and pages and pages and pages. It'll run like pages. Yes, you can't even copy paste. Yes. And he is a person who know how to show how, for whom? For the tannery people, for the people who are working in the leather industry, who were not, whom we call they are not educated, but he brought them together. He gave a place for our country in the world map when it comes to leather tannery. And he was the first person who arranged for fashion parades and in Chennai. It was in his period, it was a great show. The foreigners would come here, would spend a lot of time. The kind of what is it? The economy thing and the kind of money. Even in Atmaram, I forgot to say that it is there in the slide. When he starts his glass research, he starts with the idea 4 crore in that period was the money we were paying foreigners for importing glass for making bangles. He's from Allahabad. So he says, if I'm spending 4 crores from my own money to some other country, why can't I do these? And despite that, those glasses bangles were breaking, and especially during the festivals or during the good occasions, auspicious occasions, when bangles break often, it is people don't consider it as a good omen. So they wanted good quality glasses. He starts with it. It's not end all. He starts there. Yes, even if I am not able to provide uh, glass bangles for my own people, then what is the point? He starts there. So annual tanners get together at CLRI, and he was the one who put our country and leather research in the world map, made Indian leather industry science and technology driven, and he was a part of everything. And finally, he goes to Canada. Very often he was a big time traveler. When he was returning from Canada, you know, nobody could find even his body or things. But he again was one of the greatest scientists our country has provided, or our country has produced rather. Backdrop, why is it very, very important? It's for you to think, for us to think. Why should we know about these things? What is the point in knowing about people who lived in the past? If I am going to become a scientist, or if my student is going to become a scientist, if my child is going to become a scientist, or anything related to science, in medicine, an engineer, whatever, you want to do something, right? So, what is the point if I don't know the history? How can I predict my future? I need to know the path in which I have traveled, and I need to feel proud. So, these were the problems that people were facing at that point of time, and now this is for all of us. So, how are we going to pass it on? We didn't know. It is always okay. It's always okay. We don't know so many things, and we can't know everything. So, how am I going to pass on my country's pride to next generation? What will be my role as an individual, as a parent, as a elder, as a person who has retired from my service, but I can do something? So, what can I do within my limits? That is all. We can't get into research. All of us cannot get into research. It's okay. What can I do? So, and I always have a request. Even in the image stock that we try to find the GIF for images, do we have Indian faces? Is there something called as Indian face? Yes. So even in school books, we try to put some face, and I'm not able to relate with it. Who can make all these things? So can we make skits, reels, talks, podcasts, memes, anything that is possible within within your limits, what you aspire for? I mean, thank you then. Thank you all. Questions, please. Reference books, yes, thank you. One is Start with Bright Sparks of whom? Arvind Gupta. It is free downloadable PDF. It has almost everything. Number one. First is we'll start with Bright Sparks. It can be read by a small child. It can be read by very elderly person because the flow is that. Number two, Leelavati's Daughters. There is a book PDF freely downloadable by Indian Academy of Sciences. I repeat it, Indian Academy of Sciences. Leelavati's Daughters. You just put Leelavati's Daughter free downloadable book, it will come automatically. Just to know about the women scientists. Next, another important page is INSA, INSA. I repeat it, INSA, INSA. INSA is one of the biggest bodies of the country when it comes to science. So you have short biographies of all the scientists there, most of the scientists. So you can have it can be a starting point, right? And then of course all the time we have our Wikipedia. Apart from that, Vigyan Prasar has published lot of books in different languages. Go to Vigyan Prasar website. You have online books that you can purchase online, as well as they have their online presence, right? It again has lot of not only anecdotes, the entire biography. Like INSA presents it in a particular way, while what is it Vigyan Prasar presents it in a particular way. So the with this itself, our lifetime is not enough, actually speaking. And you go to every person in name, you have some institutes. So you can go whenever we click, say, Bose Institute or Indian Institute of Science. Just don't look for opportunities. Let us also look for the history if you are interested in history. Yes, that helps the children to develop into to have different kinds of perception. It's not just the job. Yes, job is very important, I'm not saying no, but apart from that, what are they? And you have ncbs. What happens is they give they have an outreach page, and you can get a lot of information from there about the scientists. So knowing about the scientists, current scientists also, in the same way, is becomes very important, so that you can decide what you want to do in further, or what your child wants to do in further. Unless you know how the research is progressing in the country, how will you place yourself? Just because I go to IASC doesn't mean I'll be doing the right course. What do I need? What is that I'm passionate about? Yes, or my child is passionate about, especially not I'm, my child is passionate about. So in that case, we need to have a kind of pathway. All these websites give you. So INSA, Bright Sparks, Leelavati's Daughters, NCBS, and then from there on, you can branch out a lot. And recently Vigyan Prasar has released books on 75 women scientists, Vigyan Vidushi project. You can try that also. Anything else? NCBS. Huh? NC, NCBS Biological Sciences National Center for Biological Sciences. And you have good information in TIFR, TIFR. அதெல்லாமும் உங்களுக்கு யூஸ் ஆகும். டாடா இன்ஸ்டியூட் முதல்ல இதுலேருந்து ஆரம்பிங்க, லீலாவதி டாக்டரில் ஆரம்பிங்க, ஒரு பிரைட் ஸ்பார்க்ஸில் ஆரம்பிங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக போகலாம்.
I think we have to I'll present one viewpoint, and then I will add a question. The colonial period was obviously very difficult. Many of your examples come from that. That's basically because we were a slave country. It's as simple as that, yes. Right? So slaves have a place, and that's where they wanted to keep our people. And the early Indian scientists had to really fight their way through to the top. And many of them probably were cheated, as you have clearly indicated. So that's one part. Then we get independence. Right? The early period post-independence, our struggles were very different. We have been largely a poor country. Now we are, I would say, we are not poor. We are slightly, growing. We are not at the middle income. We are on the way up. We have still a long way to go. challenges in the immediate post-independence period was quite different. But now we think we should be doing science comparable to the rest of the world.
True.
Let's say US and Europe. Right? My question is there. Are we Indians doing enough science today as we should be compared to the US and we can't now go back we can't talk about colonialism, we can't talk about lack of resources. I'll just add one point here. A friend of mine who's a professor in Canada in one of the universities says he has some collaborations with Indian faculty members here. He says he gets less money for him in Canada than his contemporaries here. They even pay for his travel to India and back. So that's a current situation. Currently, there is a lot of money in Indian science in terms of for doing research, travel, buying computers, etc. Are we doing enough science?
Yeah, that's for another talk. Yes, exactly. We have to ponder because there are some research institutes where money is poured in. Equally, there are many institutes which are still deprived of for many reasons. So again, like this, we have to collect the facts. Soon we'll have a talk on that also. That's something everybody has to ponder, especially youngsters who want to take up research. Am I in the right path? Am I in the right institution? Yes. Yes, there are. Definitely, definitely, definitely. This corona.
Sorry, my question was not about that. I think we are doing fantastic research. Is the quantity.
Quantity.
I'm not bothered about quantity. I think we are doing very good research, but we should be doing even more. Was what my
yes, we will soon.
But his question you can answer.
Huh. Okay. There are a lot of roadblocks. No one denies it. There are a lot of roadblocks. Once again, if we go back to the same talk, no, despite all the roadblocks, they have done fantastic science, and we have been doing fantastic science. One thing with our population is we will overcome the challenge. We will be the winners, but it takes longer time because of many reasons. On one side, we have been the warriors or in the front when it comes to corona. It was all immediate. At the same time, there are places, because it's again, most of the things happen because of human nature. His boss, what did he do? Did he allow the paper? Red tapeism in many places. Now with website, red tapeism has almost gone. But despite that, we are very smart. The bosses are very smart that even through online modes, we want our red tapeism. I want my authority there. So that happens. Maybe if we can, avoid all those things, we will come. We will go ahead. As of now, in the papers, the quality of papers are very good. I can't say everything is very good. I cannot say, especially being a teacher, I cannot say everything is good. Yes, there is excellent research. At the same time, there are places where we have to improve. We will do that. Anybody else? Hmm. 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 Ah. So, மேத் சயின்ஸ் இன்ஸ்டியூட் சொல்றீங்க. ஸோ நிறைய இருக்கு. தரமணி எல்லா பக்கமும் இந்தியா ஃபுல்லா நிறைய இருக்கு. என்னன்னா நமக்கு தெரியல. இன்னொன்னு பேரண்ட்ஸ்க்கு என்ன அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட்ல தெரியுதோ நம்ம அது கொண்டு அனுப்ப பாக்குறோம். இடம் காலியா இருக்கு நிறைய இடத்துல. வான்னு கூப்பிடுறான், அங்க நம்ம போக மாட்டேங்கிறோம். எங்க ரொம்ப கூட்டமா இருக்கோ அது நம்ம போறது நம்ம குணமாயிடுச்சு. மேபி வி கேன் அவாய்ட் தட். நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி நிறைய இன்ஸ்டியூட்ல அப்ளை பண்ணினா நல்லா தான் இருக்கும். ஷுவர்.
I'm not sure whether any of these people are actually Namachitra Katha. I remember Einstein's book on Einstein, which I gifted to my son. But none of these people.
We are going to bring it. Let's see.
Or even.
That's why. So maybe Varaha Mihira forum someday will start a comics. Who knows? It will come. See, nobody thought we are going to have this platform. So someday it will definitely come. It will happen. And don't feel bad at all. Don't feel guilty. Why it is not there? No, the minute we feel guilty, we feel uncomfortable. Instead, create. Let's create.
No, many of these things, you spoke about that semiconductor thing. I think I have read it in one line or two line in some books in America, okay, but not.
No.
We don't talk about it, right? That's why. Talk about it.
That is all. Talk about, as he says. We will talk. See, once it spreads, people will start. We need forums, and now only we have this online presence. See, 5 years back, I could not gather so much information because I could not access many things. Sometimes, thanks to Corona, those 2 years, most of the government websites have updated, excellently well. Very, very well. So you get all the information and they are continuing it. So 10 years back, I could not get these information. Instead of being a physics teacher for so many years, I got to know about Ruchiram Sahni's work with Rutherford very recently, few years back. So let us not, blame ourselves. Instead, இன்று புதிதாய் பிறந்தோம் நாம். இல்ல அது நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க சார். இப்போ சொன்னனே விக்யான் பிரச்சார்ல 75 இயர்ஸ் அப்படின்னு நான் சயின்டிஸ்ட் இல்ல, நான் டீச்சர். இது 75 இயர்ஸ் விக்யான் விதுஷின்னு ஒண்ணு போட்டிருக்காங்க. அதை தவிர்த்து நம்ம பாக்குறோமான்னு பார்க்கணும். இன்னொன்னு என்னன்னா, இப்போ நான் நினைச்சுக்கிறேனே, இப்போ நான் இன்னைக்கு ஏதோ ஒரு சாமான் வாங்க போறேன்னு நினைச்சிட்டேன்னா, தெருவெல்லாம் அந்த சாமான் விற்கிற மாதிரி அந்த கடை அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட் வரும், இல்ல அந்த கடையெல்லாம் எனக்கு தெரியும். So if we start having an eye, or if I have a need, we are able to get those things. Yes. So first the start பண்ணது அரவிந்த் குப்தாவோட பிரைட் ஸ்பார்க்ஸ். அதுலயே எல்லாமே இருக்கு, நிறைய இருக்கு. அதுல இருந்து தோண்டிட்டே போனாலே பெருசு. அது சொல்லுங்க.
So maybe some of these green people made a significant contribution. So when sir was also asking about enough point, now we have so many people around with the same set of pedagogy. Will it be even possible to get so much of research attitude? My main question is, appo vandu British kalatla irundappo avanga padichu, it could be because of their own
அதே எஜுகேஷன் சிஸ்டம் இன்னும் வச்சிட்டு இருக்குமே, பத்துமா கேக்குறீங்க. பத்துமா? இது 2-3 பார்த்துடலாம், டைம் இருக்குல்ல. ஓகே, தேங்க்யூ. ஒரு விஷயம், பப்ளிக்கோட ஐல எஜுகேஷன் சிஸ்டம் மாறவே இல்லை, புக்கு அப்படியே இருக்குன்னு நினச்சிட்டே இருப்போம். நிறைய நம்ம அப்படி நினச்சிக்கிறோம். ஆனா நம்ம பையனோட புக்கை எடுத்துட்டு அவன் ஹோம்ஒர்க் பண்ணும்போது, டேய் நான் இதெல்லாம் 10th படிச்சேன், நீ 6th படிக்கிறேடா, ஏன்டா என்ன படுத்துறேன்னு கேட்குறோம். And we have what is it? We have system. The system is evolving. Education system is definitely evolving. அன்னைக்கு படிச்சதை இன்னைக்கு படிக்கல, இது ஒரு பக்கம். So that is why we are still making waves abroad or even in our own country. நிறைய எக்கச்சக்க சயின்டிஸ்ட் நீ வரைக்கும் இருக்காங்கன்னு அர்த்தம் இந்த சிஸ்டம்ல இருந்து வெளியில போனவங்க தான். பழைய சிஸ்டம் இல்ல, நிறைய மாறிக்கிட்டு இருக்கு. சிஸ்டம் அதே இருக்கலாம், ஆனா சிஸ்டம் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா என்னது தானா இவால்வ் ஆகிக்கிட்டே இருக்கு. அதுக்கப்புறம் எல்லாருமே இவங்க எல்லாருமே பிரிட்டிஷ் சிஸ்டம்ல படிக்கல. இவங்க எல்லாரும் நிறைய பேர் திண்ண பள்ளிக்கூடம், சாதா பள்ளிக்கூடத்துல படிச்சுட்டு யூகேலயோ இல்லையோ போய் டிகிரி வாங்கிட்டு இங்க வந்து they didn't have any facilities also. They created facilities. I would say they were innovators, inventors. பசங்க கிட்ட கிரியேட்டிவிட்டியை நான் பண்றேன்னா கிரியேட்டிவிட்டி மட்டும்தான் என் குழந்தைய வளர்க்குமே வழிய கிரியேட்டிவிட்டி நிறைய வேணும். அவனுக்கா ஒரு கொஸ்டினை புரிஞ்சுக்க தெரியணும், அவனா கொஸ்டின் ஃபார்ம் பண்ணணும், அவ எதுனாலும் அவங்களா அது எல்லாத்தையும் பண்ண தெரியணும். ஒரு டெக்ஸ்ட் புக் கொடுத்துட்டு இந்த கொஸ்டினுக்கு இந்த புக்கு இந்த மார்க்கு இந்த டைம்குள்ள பண்ணுன்னு நான் ஒரு அவங்கள உள்ள போடும்போது தான் அந்த கிரியேட்டிவிட்டி அங்க வத்தி போயிடுது. நீ எவ்வளோ பெரிய காலேஜ்க்கு போகலாம், எவ்வளோ பெரிய இன்ஸ்டியூஷன்ல போகலாம், ஹி இஸ் நாட் கிரியேட்டிவ். வை டிட் தே கிரியேட்? They had a passion and they had challenges. They also had freedom at least from within to create something. இங்க குழந்தையிலேயே அந்த கிரியேட்டிவிட்டியை நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம்னு எனக்கு தெரியாது. பட் டெஃபினெட்லி எஜுகேஷன் சிஸ்டம் ஹாஸ் பீன் இவால்விங், யூனோ. அண்ட் அகெயின் நம்ம ஊர்ல எல்லாமே 80-20 60-40 இந்த மாதிரி ரேஷியோ தான் சொல்லணும். எல்லா காலேஜும் நல்லா இருக்கா இல்ல, எல்லா இன்ஸ்டியூஷனும் பெஸ்டா இருக்கா கிடையாது. ஆனா பெஸ்ட் நிறைய இருக்கு, அப்படிதான் நான் எடுத்துக்க முடியும். அதை ஐ திங்க் நான் ஒரு மாதிரி உங்களுக்கு ஆன்சர் பண்ணிருக்கேன், ஃபுல்லா ஆன்சர் பண்ணல. பட் ஸ்டில் தட் வாஸ் a nice question.
The way in which science is being taught in schools leaves much to be desired. Can Varahamira Science Forum do anything about it?
Not me, it's everybody.
Yes.
That's right. No, no. As a forum, I mean, there is something.
What should we do?
I think,
What are you asking?
see, the way science is being taught in the school leaves much to be desired. I mean, it's not how science should be taught. I mean, people should be made to experiment. People should.
How do we tell 50,000 teachers?
இது ஒண்ணு சொல்லலாம். இல்ல இதுல ஒண்ணு
Beginning somewhere.
you know,
That's my question.
they have made அதனால தான் நம்ம இவ்ளோ பேரானும் இருக்கோம். ஒரு விஷயம் இன்னொன்னு என்னன்னா, கோபு ஒரு 10 வருஷம் முன்னாடி ஃபேஸ்புக் ஆரம்பிச்சப்போ ஒரு இது போட்டிருந்தாரு. ஸ்கூல்ஸ் ஆர் வி கன்சிடர் ஸ்கூல்ஸ் ஆஸ் பிளேசஸ் வேர் வி லீவ் த சில்ட்ரன் தேர். அந்த என்ன சொல்லுவோம், கிரச் மாதிரி பண்றோம்னு ஒரு அது அப்ப என் பையன் ஸ்கூல் படிதான். டே கேர் சென்டர்ஸ்னு டெஃபினட்டா 15 இயர்ஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு அவர் போட்டு ஃபேஸ்புக் வந்த டைம்ல போட்டிருந்தாரு. ஸோ thing is that made me think a lot. Schools cannot do everything in 5 hours or 6 hours because they have lot of constraints. This is my child or my children or my niece, my nephew. What am I going to do? Or my granddaughter, so schools cannot do everything. Schools or colleges, teachers cannot do magic because each child comes with. This guy has my old student, he has gone to UK, but everybody in my class has not achieved that much because they come with their own baggages which we are not able to solve. So it is a huge challenge, mainly because of the maybe we say it is population, I don't know, maybe anything. So everybody has to contribute because you only know what your family wants the child to achieve or what his path is. So நிறைய, ஆனா இன்னைக்கு நிறைய ஃபோரம்ஸ் வந்துருச்சு. 10 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி இருந்ததை விட இன்னைக்கு நிறைய நீங்க கேட்குற மாதிரி ட்ரைனிங்ஸ் இருக்கு. இதுக்கு இன்னொரு பதில் என்னன்னா, Vigyan Pratibha, IMSC or Homi Baba Center for Science Education. I repeat it, HBCSC, Homi Baba Center for Science Education. Tifarodadu. They have lot of materials with which you can help your child think differently. அதுக்கு ரூபாலாம் வேண்டாம், நீங்க பெரிய பெரிய சாமான்லாம் வாங்க வேண்டாம். அந்த ஒர்க் ஷீட்ஸ் ஒண்டியே உங்க குழந்தைய கிரிட்டிக்கலா திங்க் பண்ண வைக்கும். அண்ட் ஈவன் there was one think think group, அதுவும் நீங்க கூகுள் பண்ணி பாருங்க. So these may give you different perspectives. Yes, can we say thank you? Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, thank you all for coming today. Thank you, Dr. Uthra, for an excellent lecture about fantastic number of scientists, several of whose accomplishments were not heard of, or whose depth and relevance we are just beginning to realize. It was you could see the pride and the passion just ringing in her voice, right? So that was a fantastic lecture. I'm so glad I invited her. I wish we had a larger audience. We'll get it. It's going out on the web, and I request, actually I should request Harish, come up On behalf of Varahamira Science Forum, I want Harish is our youngest speaker, literally. He spoke 3-4 years back. So I want Harish to give her a memento as a token of her appreciation. Uh, uh, Thank you, Harish. Actually, so most of you are new here. About 4 years back, we had a program where we opened it up only to students. So we had a lecture program where the speakers were school students, and Harish was the first one to speak actually. So we are planning to do that on a regular basis. Unfortunately, the very next year we had Corona, and we have only come back after 2-3 years of a hiatus. So only in the last 6 months we have had live programs. So thank you, Shravan, for showing up and singing at the last minute. I sent that song to her, and she was like, will people accept this? I don't know if it may be not serious enough. Even your so I kept it as a surprise. I didn't tell even the fellow organizers, and he agreed to sing. I only met him last month at a wedding of another person who's a Varahamira Science Forum speaker, Deepthi. And so I'm thankful to Shravan for singing it. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. I would like to thank Shastra Satsang for the use of their auditorium. Those of you who are new and not part of our regular programs, please come to our WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups, Twitter, whatever. You can message us. You can continue to communicate, and hope to see you next month. We'll announce the next month's program in all our social media. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.